Hello and welcome guys. We are back into Honkai Star Rail and today I'm a bit late. The anniversary I think has passed a bit. But I do want to actually make the second year recap of my account. As you know, this account is free to play, although it will not seem like it once we'll get into the characters and what I got, but this account is free to play. If we're looking at the battle pass, I never got the battle pass. I don't have any of the battle pass weapons, which is the things that I would recommend to any player if you do want to actually spend on the game. I'd say battle pass and the Welkin, which here express supply pass, I guess. This one I would recommend the most to most players if you do want to whale on the game. Personally, I'm an idiot who always just likes to hard spend, so if you've ever seen how much money I spend in Genshin, you'll know that this is where I actually spend it. I think I bought the battle pass like twice in Genshin, but yeah, usually I just go for hard of these ones because it's just the immediate reward, and it's much more of a I want a character now rather than I'm planning to spend money on the game. It's the bad decision, I know, but that's just how I do it. For that reason, maybe it's not why I have not spent money on both games in the past 2 years, but generally that's how I like to do it. But as you can see, I have not tapped into any rewards or anything like that. I have a clip which I'll probably put back of me from a couple of weeks ago when I did my clear for the MOC before the anniversary, where I showed my shop where I've not spent there. Beyond that, there's nothing I can do. You can kind of like have to trust my word for it in a way. But yeah, I have not bought anything ever for this account, and you know, maybe you will see my account and be like, nah dude, ain't no way, but at the same time, that's just how it is. Now, I was thinking, I did do some pre-planning, and I do update my Twitter whenever I do actually pull or stuff like that. So I actually did look at what I got this year, because there wasn't actually a lot when I was like thinking about it, because the last anniversary patch was when Acheron was up. And by the time like I made my video, I've already gotten my Jingliu. At the time I got Jingliu because I thought, well, Ice DPS I needed on my account, that will be good. Elmao Ice was removed from the meta for Imaginary and Fire because break, right? But at the time Acheron was the newest shiny thing, I didn't know that. I thought Jingliu might be a decent investment. How wrong I was. Generally though, I still like her design, I still think she's cool. She's getting buffed soon. We don't know much about her buffs yet, but hopefully that makes it so that she's at least playable in some parts of the game. But yeah, I'm not holding hope if I'm being honest. So yeah, after Jingliu, I essentially kind of like slowed down my polls, and my next one was just Jade. I saw the drip marketing for Jade, and I saw her in the story first, right? She was featured with adventuring related things, and yeah, no, she's hard, right? And then I saw the drip marketing, and I was like, yeah, no, I will try to get that. Now, I've already managed to forget, but let me pull out my fucking Twitter. According to my Twitter, I've managed to lose both 50-50 and was on PD for both, but I was able to get her eventually. So Jade was acquired with, unfortunately, not a lot of luck, and that's fine. You know, you can't win them all. So I personally, losing so many pulls for Jade was kind of a downer in a way, because I knew going in, I looked at her kit, I looked at her numbers, I knew she was going to be not that powerful. I knew she was meant to be a sub DPS to a DPS that I didn't have, because the best things you had at the time was AoE units, and the most I had was the newly acquired Jingliu, Herta, and Himeko, like small Herta. Let me preface, because big Herta was not there at the time. So I really didn't have much for her. She just kind of existed on my account as this hot woman that does nothing beyond existing and maybe being a bit of a sub DPS. It wasn't until much later with, like, you know, obviously Pure Fiction, she was really good, but in some later rotations of MOC, where her alongside either Herta or Jingliu, back when Herta, like big Herta, was going into meta and you needed Ice DPS again, I was actually able to finally use her. But until then, she just kind of sat in my account as this kind of like very niche, just good in Pure Fiction, but that's kind of it. again, things have definitely slowed down at that point. And there, the biggest thing that, like, after acquiring Jade, the biggest thing I had problem with was that my best team by far was my dot team. I do have E2, S1 Acheron. Don't question me, I'm free to, we went through this last year. And that team was really good for me. And I invested a lot in that team, but I had a problem with skill point economy because you do want to get your ult on Black Swan and you need to use your skill to get as much energy as you can. And I used to play that team a lot with Acheron as well. And Acheron also likes to spam her skill points. So I really needed something that would help me in the skill point economy. And because of that, I actually pulled for the Rune Mei signature weapon. The reason was Rune Mei was becoming one of the best assets on my account, with Super Break just surprising me out of nowhere because I never actually played Super Break until I was forced to with the introduction of Apocalyptic Shadow. I was so surprised at how much damage MC can do, and obviously Rune Mei being a break support, I thought, well, I can get her signature light gun, it gives me a bunch of break effect, and it gives energy, and it gives me a skill point. That's like everything I ever wanted out of her, which is ability to do more support, right? And even for my normal dot team, she does even have like a bit of damage bonus as well, which was really nice. So yeah, I got her weapon, mainly for the skill point economy. Like having that extra like helped me a lot, because again, MC does like to spam his skill as well. And usually I would play the team with Himeko, and Himeko would also like to spam her skills as well. So you really need those skill points. I was going for a lot of like luxury stuff that I didn't really need. And that was also another one. My next pull actually, which I think I actually did win 50-50 for, but I was pushed to PD. And that gave me two things by going for E1 Huohuo. It gave me A, speed to the entire team. Really fucking good. Like in a game that's so much about speed tuning, having that extra 10%, in this case 12% speed, and extending her duration so that way she's not skill point hungry. Again, skill point was very important for me at the time, like the skill point economy. I really needed any support I can get on that front. And again, if you look at my main dot team, Huohuo, Rune Mei, Black Swan, Kafka, you need those skill points. And that's what going for E1 with Huohuo did for me. It was much more of a, if I win the 50-50, I'm happy. If I don't win it, then I have a guarantee for the next one. At the time, the main thing that was worrying me was the existence of Apocalyptic Shadow. And I was struggling a lot on that one. Like every time I would clear it, but barely. And I would like really need to use this weird steam. I was forced to learn how to use super breaks. I was kind of forced to run some weird hyper carry Acherons. It was all over the place. And I just wanted a good, solid DPS that would be good for Apocalyptic Shadow. So I spent everything I had at the time on Fei Zhao, and I lost 50-50. And I was like, well, I'm fucked, you know, like nothing I can do about that. And then that's where I infamously, for the first time in my game, used a full 47 of these ones. Now, currently I'm back to 170. At the time, I think I was around the same area actually, but using 47 of them is quite expensive. I used 47 of them, so if you look at this number, if you're ever a free-to-play who just spent the game, he did all of the events, all of the exploration, and gotta be lucky on some banners, that's about the numbers that you're gonna get for these ones. You may think this is a lot, but this is 2 years of essentially not spending more than 50 of them. Like when you think about it in that sense, it's not that much, right? So I always have these as a backup. Generally, I'm just saving them as a backup for what I consider as my title. I'm just waiting for AI. I think I talked about this last year maybe as well. But hey, if there is free Raidens, if there is a Raiden for every Honkai and every Genshin, there surely is going to be AI for every Honkai and every Genshin, right? Surely. So after that one, I essentially had 0 pulse. I had nothing. And I was looking at the upcoming characters between Fugu, between Sunday, between Rappa. Like they all looked interesting, but there wasn't something that was like I really needed. Like Fugu seemed like a Rune Mei replacement at the time. You know, nowadays we can essentially acknowledge that she's replacement for Harmony MC because Remembrance MC is a lot better. She was a replacement for him, but at the time I thought she was a replacement for Rune Mei, and why would I go for a replacement for Rune Mei when my Rune Mei is already so heavily invested into, right? And Rappa was an erudition DPS, was super break DPS, which I didn't believe in. So I was like, I can skip it and I don't really have the pulse anyway to push for it. I may as well save it for something else. And Sunday, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of him in the story. I know a lot of people like them. I personally I wasn't that big of a fan, and I just didn't care about him enough to pull for him. Granted, I knew he was going to be a support character that's very good for the upcoming new Remembrance path. I knew that. I could have pulled for him there. I knew that he would be very good as a support for all of these characters. I still skipped him anyway because I thought I'll be fine. Granted, I wasn't, but just for a quick recap, that was on August, yeah, so August was War, and then October was when I was forced to pull for Fei Zhao. And between October, 1st of October, I didn't pull anything until February. 4 months of essentially not pulling for shit, right? So as you saw, I got myself an algae. Now, I knew that Sunday will be very good for algae, but I already had Huohuo, which was very heavily invested into. I even leveled up my Tin Gyun, thinking that surely E6 Tin Gyun will be fine. I fully leveled her up. I leveled her talents to 12, which I never do for any of my 4-star. Even Herta, I didn't level her up to 12. I was very hopeful for Tin Gyun to be good. She was okay, but RMC turned out to be like the ridiculous support. Even with all of these options and even with RMC action advance, even with Warhol, even with Tin Gyun, it wasn't enough. And I was kind of disparaging, if I'm being honest, because I already actually got the Lycon as well. When I saw the drip marketing for algae, my mindset was like, I saved for so long. That's the character I want. I'm going to fucking get that character, and she's going to be my new top character. I even got the Lycon. I was this type. I heard that she had energy issues, and I was coping. I was sure that I was fine. I was not fine. I had to pull the E1. Granted, I had a pulse for it. I lost my 50-50 on algae, and I got her on PD. That was the first one. Immediately after I got the weapon for her, I also went for Robin. And Robin, I won the 50-50, and I got her very early. Except I lost the 50-50 on PD again to Welt on the algae banner, but I got algae again very fast, 20 pulls. So that was very nice for me, because in my mind, when I was doing these pulls, I was thinking I might have to tap into my whale dust. Again, I got her in with 20. I was willing to pull to invest the extra 50s that I needed. I basically got it on the last day, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was forced to pull the E1. If you are ever interested in getting algae, I know her name is Aglaea, I don't care, I'm calling her algae. You have to get the E1, it's too valuable. Ever since getting the E1, I've been very satisfied with her performance, but obviously, when you get an E1 S1 new shiny character, they're gonna be good, what a shocker. Do I have plans to go for Sunday for her? Currently no, currently I'm fine with how I am with the current state of my account. As you saw, I did immediately go for Robin. The reason why I went for Robin was very simple. I saw one of my friends, they had a Robin, and I was like, this kind of fits into everywhere I need, because at the time, my biggest problem was the fact that I had only one Rune Mei. I needed 2 Rune Mei, because I would use her everywhere. Between using her with Fei Zhao, between using her on Dot, between using her with Super Break, whatever team I had Rune Mei. I can pull up the stat. You know what? Pause. Let me pull up the stats. I used Rune Mei effectively everywhere. She did so much for my account, and I only had one. I needed 2 of them, and Robin was essentially the perfect one, because between Dot and between Fei Zhao, Robin seemed like she would be the answer for it, right? She's very good for follow-up attackers, she's very good with like single target as well, which is exactly the type of support that Fei Zhao needs, and she also buffs attack a lot, which is very beneficial for Dot, and she gives damage bonus as well. So even though she's not optimal for Dot, she's still decently good there. And generally speaking, I have been decently satisfied with her. She did everything that I kind of wanted her to do, and I pulled her even knowing that Trevi was coming up and Trevi was a Harmony support, right? But I thought it may as well I just rip the band-aid fast, get a Robin, and not try to see if whatever happens with Trevi, if she's good, if she's not. I mean, she's a new Harmony character, she's going to be busted, right? But at the same time, I really wasn't sure how her performance is going to be, so I was like, may as well just get the character I want and get it over with, and that's what I did. Which, other than that, there's nothing much to her. She does what she needs to do, and she has been fine for that. But at that point, I was like, okay, I got kind of everything I wanted, but there is Tribi on the banner. There is Tribi on the banner, and I have enough to push 50-50. So I did. I just put a bunch of pulls, and yep, I got myself a Tribi. After getting algae early, I got a Tribi early. Another 50-50 won very early. That's incredible luck. Again, we went from losing essentially all of my polls being like 50-50 losses or being pushed all the way to PD, to having like 3 characters in a row where I'm getting them very early and 2 of them being a 50-50 win. That was insane. 3B, essentially, if you know about her, then you know she is effectively the same as Robin. So having both 3B and Robin on my account is not that great, if I'm being honest. I pulled for her because I could, and I got her so early. I was really surprised by how early I got her that, yeah, I had enough pulls remaining to go for the E1. Granted, I actually did use some of my whale dust. So remember how we talked about the fact that I was on 47? I was like, you know what? Let me spend to around 50. Let me buy a total of 3 more. I spent a total of 3 and I got the exact same thing. So yeah, I was able to get myself a 3B. It was on PD, but E1 3B is absolutely busted for AoE situations, especially pure fiction. Again, wow, another quantum character for pure fiction. Your account is so good. I know guys. But with the meta being a lot more AoE reliant, I didn't feel like it was a bad investment, and with true damage being so slappable everywhere, I really wasn't feeling bad about it, and it really is one of the better support type of E1s that you can get. The sad thing is, because I have Robin now, and I don't really use Super Break that much, which leads us to the next character I got. Yeah, I got A1 Runmei from the free anniversary rewards. Yeah, I don't use her anymore. Yeah, I went for the E1 anyway, even though I could have gotten Lorcha. I know. I'm stupid. But it's good for Super Break. I don't play Super Break anymore, but it's good for Super Break. Now, how does one person use a Super Break support? Obviously, it's by going for Fugu. I lost 50-50 on Fugu. And then I got her in 3 fucking polls. So, welcome and the newest addition to my account, Fugu. Guys, I know it's not her name. Don't talk to me about it. Yeah, I got Fugu in 3 polls. I think this is actually was luckier, at least in terms of being a 50-50 win. I think this was actually luckier than me getting E0 and E1 Black Swan in the same 10 poll. Yeah, no, I was fucking shocked. I was like, yes, well, I guess I'm not using her anymore. Now it changes the aspect of my account completely, because now I have to go for a Super Break DPS, and that's probably the next thing that I will go for, because yeah, there might be a new shiny cool looking character that's super broken on the banner right now. But also, whenever have I actually played to the newest shiny broken character? Not often. Like, if you look at my account, it's just a bunch of like, why are you continuing to go to stupid dumb reruns of a characters that are going to be phased out of the meta anyway? Like, what's the point of going for all of them? The answer is I'm stupid, but I'm going for what works for my account at the current moment, because planning out for the future in Honkai has essentially never worked for me. I went for Fei Zhao. She was okay, but my other teams were also able to clear. Like, majority of the content where Fei Zhao was needed for Apocalyptic Shadow, usually that would be good there too. I wanted to go for Jin Liu. It didn't work for me. So yeah, I'm just going to continue that role, and I'm going to probably go for a break DPS now that break is no longer meta. So that's going to be great. Stay tuned for that. Essentially, this is kind of it. This is the state of my account. I don't think I will be pulling in this version. Next version, I am honestly not interested in the current characters. We'll have to see if there's anything interesting in the reruns, but unless Rappa is there, I kinda doubt I will go for those. That is kind of like the state of my account. Personally, how do I feel about it? I feel I have E1 3B, I have E1 S1 Algae. Personally, I think I'm good for the next couple of patches, but hopefully I have enough saved up to, well, whatever new shiny character is released that's going to break the meta, I might have enough pulls to get them, or somehow I have characters that are good enough to keep me there. That is kind of it for this video. Yeah, I don't have much to say. This year has been very weird, because kind of everything that has happened that was interesting in my account has essentially just happened in the last 2 months, where everything just kind of happened, and it wasn't just investment into old characters that I liked, right? But yeah, that's kind of it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Until then, bye!